Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Coffee with Tea. I'm your host, the amazing Tea Street. Today's mug, today is my new favorite day. I haven't used it in a long time, so I just needed to know that every day is a special day. So I just took it out today and decided that it would do that. Today's topic, don't skip the process of character development. In full transparency, um, I'm sparked to do this one today because of a message that I heard last night from one of my pastors, Pastor Rick Jones, that just stayed with me literally all the way home, all the way until I went to bed last night, and I woke up with it on my mind this morning. And so I decided that I would do today's coffee with tea on the process of character development. Now, when I was young and I would hear people talk about character, I said to my mom, Mom, what is character? And she summarized it with a phrase that many of us have heard. She said, character is who you are when no one but God is looking. But that didn't quite tell me how you get it. Because really, what I want to know is if it's what it is, how do you get there? And so today I thought I would walk us through the process of how do you develop good character. Well, the first thing I would say to you is you practice virtues and ethical behavior. T, what's a virtue? Well, a virtue is the way in which you align your behavior with what you say you value. Some examples of virtues are integrity, honesty, justice, courage, temperance. In full transparency, temperance is the one character flaw that stands out in my personality that I'm always having to ask God to help me with. My self-control is not always there. Sometimes, y'all, I be wanting to pop off when things are not good. Sometimes um, I'm eating when I should be walking. Self control is the character flaw that I think stands out most in my personality. But it is an example um, of of a virtue. An ethical behavior, of course, is when you just align what you say you believe with what you do. The next thing, develop good habits. I'll give you an example. When we were growing up, my mom made us develop the habit of telling the truth. She said, even if you think you're going to get in trouble, tell the truth anyway. Because the consequence, yeah, there will be a consequence if you did something wrong. But the consequence for doing something wrong and lying is far greater than just the thing that you did wrong. So, one of the good habits that I practice is even when it's hard, I'm like, yep, I did it. I did the thing. Good morning, Stephanie. I did the whatever the thing is that it is. I developed good habits. I developed good habits of treating people with kindness. I developed good habits of generosity and real talk. Those are things that I learned from my mother. My mother taught us those things and then had us do it and had us practice. Being a servant is easy because that's how I grew up. We served alongside my mom. My mom always helped people, and so she showed us by doing and then allowing us to do. That was a good habit that I developed growing up. When you talk about character development, you got to practice those habits. Being a good role model. Can I tell you? Long before I was a Christian, I changed some things in my life. When I started to work with young people, people always talk about the gift that I am to young people. Oh, T, you do great work. People don't know that young people literally changed my entire life and the way that I lived it. They brought me to a greater sense of like responsibility for how I was walking in the world. I remember one time kids said to me, it was a group of kids, about 250 kids. We were in United Way and we were running a drug free program. And they asked me a question. They said, Miss T, do you smoke weed? Yeah, that was a long time ago. That was almost 30 years ago. And practicing my good habit of telling the truth, even when it's hard, I said, I do. And they said, well, how are you going to tell us that weed is bad for us? It's a drug prevention program. It's bad for us, but it's not bad for you. That makes you a hypocrite. Y'all, that term did something to me. And so I gave kids my word that day in 19 that I would, for the rest of my life, I wouldn't smoke, drink, or get high on anything but life. And I've honored that because I know that kids are watching me. In my program, yesterday, a young man and I had an exchange. One of my staff members, he had his phone out, and we don't allow kids to have their phones out. We want you locked in and focused. And he had his phone out, and he's a staff member. And I said, "Put your phone away." He looked at the kids and he said, "Y'all don't do what I do." And I turned to him and I said, "No, don't you do what we don't expect them to do. We are the models for what we expect to see from our young people, because you can't teach what you don't know, and you can't lead where you won't go. Be a role model. Seek accountability. I like it when my friends hold me accountable for who I'm supposed to be and who I say that I am. If you got people in your life who stroke you and tell you that good is bad and that bad is good, they're not friends. Seek accountability. Have people hold you accountable for the things that are right, that are true, and that are just. Because in when you do that, that's good moral character. The other thing that I would say, good morning, Janae. The other thing that I would say, and finally, build meaningful relationships. It's a part of character development. Part of my character is those with whom I surround myself, because it tells you a little bit about who I am. I don't surround myself with people who make decisions that are contrary to what I believe is right. Do I have friends who don't always make right choices? Yeah, but I don't surround myself with them. There's some people that are loyal to me, that I'm loyal to, who are sitting in prison. But guess what? Those weren't the meaningful relationships that informed who I am. Those aren't the people that I sought to be a part of the circle in which I enshrine myself. I want people who hold me accountable and who say to me, "T, you need to get your life. You need to check yourself, because right now you wrecking yourself." And so when we are doing this thing called life, it's really important. And as I started out this conversation last night, I was really, really just struggling and tussling with this message that I got from one of my pastors, Pastor Rick. And that's how I started this message out around character. And so there's a way to develop it. Practice virtues and ethical behavior. Develop good habits. Like my mom told us, always tell the truth, even when it's hard. Because a truth coupled with your mistake is better than a truth coupled with a lie. Be a role model, because we can't teach what we don't know and we can't lead where we won't go. Seek accountability, because people who love you want you to be at your best. And so they should be giving you the truth about who you are so that you can become the best version of who you were meant to be. And build meaningful relationships. Surround yourself with the things that matter. Y'all remember when we were growing up and my grandmother said to me, and then my mom repeated, "Show me the 5 closest people to you and I'll show you your future." I remember when I was trying to change my life, I had to move away from some things. Long before I was a Christian, y'all, I was trying to change my life and become a better version of me. And I had to change the people that I was running with. Because my grandmama told me, if you show me the 5 closest people to you, I'll show you your future. So I started surrounding myself with some people who were going to help me build a better future. Good morning, Pastor Mike. Good morning, Ken. Good morning, Erica, Janae, and Stephanie. I'm the Amazing T Street, but you know what? There's absolutely positively nothing amazing in me that's not in each and every one of you. So today, go on out there and start what? Building better personal character. Have an amazing day.